Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just want to drop this nugget in your spirit on today. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am just basically going to give you a short outline about trauma, the trauma tree. And if you type in, I'm pretty sure you'll see the trauma tree and what it symbolizes and what the leaves mean as far as the roots and the branch itself. I do not know how to pin a picture up here, so I can't. I actually have one over there in my papers, but I don't know how to pin it here, so we won't. But you can Google the trauma tree, and that is what we're going to discuss today, understanding the roots before the leaves. Because even though you may be displaying a certain type of behavior, there is always a root cause to that. You know what I mean? Like, you may see people walking around in a defense mode all the time, or somebody that angry. There's levels to this, right? So there's a root issue to that. So I don't, now that I don't ask people or think in my head, what's wrong with you? I say in my head to myself, I wonder what happened to that person. I wonder what happened. And if we all adopt that I wonder what happened situation, we will start looking at people in a different light. So today, that is what we're going to talk about. If you find that this information is going to be helpful, make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to this channel. But if you know everything, just make sure you share it with somebody else that may be trying to figure their life out, their behavior. Why are they the way they are? That is what started my journey with God. I wanted to know why I was the way that I am back then, right? Or was. So let's jump into it. Understanding the roots before the leaves. Many people spend their lives trying to fix the leaves of their life while ignoring the roots underneath. And I'm a tell you what the leaves are and all that extra, okay? You see the anger, you see the anxiety, you see the broken relationships, you see the addiction, but what you don't see is the trauma underneath. You do not see that. It's not visible. Trauma works like a tree. If you only pick off the leaves, the tree keeps growing them back. But if you deal with the roots, the whole tree begins to change. This is why many people keep repeating the same patterns in life. They are treating symptoms and not the source. So when you go to the doctor and you say, hey, I have a cold, and you go back and say, hey, I have a cold. Sometimes they give you something, sometimes they don't. They will say, well, it's a viral infection or this and that and the third, and sometimes they'll give you an antibiotic. But what if I keep going back and forth to the doctor and I'm not getting better? Then there's a root issue. Where's the root of me keep getting sick? That was my life for 3 years when acute COVID happened. Going to the doctor, going to specialists, just going everywhere trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I need to get to this root. They need to get to the root of this issue, right? Because nothing else was working. Nothing else was working. But they too did not know, because COVID is not something that was here for years. So they was going along just like we was going along, trying to figure it out. They can treat me for the symptoms all day long, but even then, what they were treating me for wasn't working. Was not working. Okay, so the root of the tree is the hidden trauma, pain, or experiences that shaped someone. There is something that shaped you. The trunk is the beliefs a person develops about themselves and the world. What are you believing about yourself? But your belief system is always so important whenever you're dealing with trauma. It's very important. What do you believe? And when I say that, you can believe the lies, the deception that Satan says to you, about you, or you can believe what God says about you to you. The branches or the coping mechanisms people develop to survive, whether it's drinking, overeating, shopping, drugs, things that people use, their vices, in order for them to survive. The leaves and the fruit, the visible behaviors, habits, emotions, and life patterns. Most people judge the leaves without understanding the roots, and that's what I said. A lot of us see people, even with homeless people. A lot of us see them as homeless people, but we don't understand or know what they went through in order to get to that place, right? We can only see the leaves and judge from the leaves. But there is a root issue for that cause. Even with addiction, a lot of people may see people doing drugs. They didn't wake up one morning or as a kid saying, I'm going to grow up and be a drug addict. They didn't do that. What happened? What happened? Okay. A person may appear angry all the time, but anger might just be a leaf growing from the root of abandonment or rejection. So if you find a person that is angry, there's a lot of different roots that line up with anger, but I'm just giving you an example. The root of that anger may be abandonment or rejection. Another person may seem distant or cold, but the root may be betrayal or deep emotional wounds. You don't know what people went through. Healing begins when we stop asking what's wrong with you and start asking what happened to you. Why you now? Don't you go up to people and ask them what happened to you? No, but that is it, mentally in your mind. That's what you should be thinking. You should not just be so quick to judge people off of their behavior. Something happened. So like I said, I'm just giving you a short outline. So I'm going to give you 10 common trauma roots and the symptoms they produce. And okay. So remember, the roots of the tree is the trauma, and the leaves are the symptoms and the behaviors that often grow from them. Okay. Abandonment. The root of abandonment. These are just 10. There's a lot more. There's a lot more. Root, a parent or a partner or important person left emotionally or physically. Now, what would the symptoms be of that? Fear being left, clinginess in relationship, overthinking people actions, anxiety when someone pulls away, difficulty trusting stability. And that often is where you see a whole lot of people do their people pleasing from, or people that stay in relationships that they know are not good for them. And that is why. Rejection. The root of it is feeling unwanted or not accepted. As a kid, your mom or dad may never said anything good or anything nice to you or compliment you. It was always a issue of negative stuff, and you always wanted to feel wanted, but you did out everything you can do as a kid to try to feel wanted, but you never felt it. You never heard it. So the root of that feeling unwanted or not accepted is low self-esteem, constant need for approval, people pleasing, and fear of criticism, avoiding opportunities. And that is a dangerous place to be, especially needing approval from people. You can be the best thing out there and people still not give you approval. I never been the type that needed approval. I barely even celebrated myself, and that's because of my past and my trauma. But I never needed that approval for people. I didn't ever need nobody to say good job or anything. But now, as I got older, I was like, you know what? It probably would feel good for somebody to say, you know what, you're doing an amazing job, or pat you on your back, or give you a good compliment. I have grown up my whole life, and It is what it is. I do what I do because I love to do what I do. Even working, I never was big on being the, um, what is it, employee of the month or anything. It doesn't matter to me. But I do think celebrating yourself should be. Like, I never really celebrate my birthday. Just little knick-knack things that I knew that there was a root to it, right? Um, but constant need for approval is very dangerous. Um, very dangerous. People pleasing is very dangerous too. You're doing whatever somebody else wants you to do. You'll never find your identity, who you are, doing what others always want you to do. Criticism, I'm fine with criticism, and I probably was fine with criticism because of um my past. And the thing is about my past, it has a lot of good, but it also has a lot of bad stuff that I'm still working through. That's why it's healing in his word, ing, because I'm still healing in his word. Okay, betrayal. Trust was broken by someone close. That's the root. The symptom is difficult trusting other, controlling behavior, suspicion, emotional walls, and testing people constantly. I went through that too. And the lifestyle I lived as far as in the street, my aunt selling dope, and we just lived in that. And even before that, just living in a household that came from, the background of somebody in there doing drugs or selling drugs, whatever the case may be. That difficulty in trusting others came natural. Came natural. Okay. So childhood neglect, the root, emotional or physical needs not met. Feeling invisible, difficulty expressing emotions, self-isolation, feeling unworthy of love, independence to the point of emotional shutdown. Yeah, I had childhood neglect too. I was a lot of these things up here. Um, I probably wouldn't be able to say it if I wasn't healing in his word, and allowing God to open up and expose me to whatever it is so that he can heal that. I wouldn't be able to talk about like trauma and helping somebody walk through it. Um, People go to school for years and years to be psychiatrists and therapists, but I absolutely love it. That is my heart. It makes me cry that this is what God is doing. It's beautiful, but I enjoy helping people identify where they are in life, to the point of, okay, you dealt with this X, Y, and Z trauma in your life. Okay, so now once we deal with that, let's start exploring self-identity, who you are. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Um, Physical abuse. The root of it is violence or threats in childhood or relationship. What is the symptoms? Hypervigilance, fear responses, aggressive or defensive, trouble relaxing, trust issues. Loss or grief. The root, death of a loved one, loss of stability, or sudden change. What is the symptoms? Emotional numbness, depression, avoiding attachments, fear of losing other, deep sadness. I know for me, I try to make sure I did not get attached to anyone because my mom, I was attached to her because she's my mom, right? But there's nights and days where she didn't come home. So if she promised me something and she didn't come through with it, which was a lot, um, that would break my heart, or that'll make me feel some type of way. So then when I grew up, I knew not to depend or rely or even take her word as face value. But at the same time, I had to work through that with God. Not that I blame her for anything, no, because she was doing the best that she could with what she knew, but she was an addict. So where did she get that from? There was an issue in her childhood or life that she never dealt with, right? So of course she don't know how to be a mom to me or my siblings. Um, And I forgave. I forgave. I will not change it for nothing in the world, because then I wouldn't be Coach Shinka. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have unbecoming if I changed it. So I'm all right with it. Bully or humiliation. The root cause of that is being mocked, shamed, or publicly embarrassed. The symptoms: social anxiety, fear of speaking up, self doubt, avoiding attention, difficulty believing compliments. Chaos or instability. I had instability so bad. I moved from place to place, city to city, state to state. And when I got here, that's when I sat down like, God, what is this? Like, normal people do not do this. So what is going on in me that I'm having to move like this? And I hate it to a certain degree, because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we're going to move from state to state. At least my daughter will not have that attachment to people. And now I'm just like, was it wrong? I don't know. But I had to go to God and ask him to help me figure me out. I was so I was not stable as far as home wise at all. Okay, so chaos or instability. The root cause of it is growing up in unpredictable environments. The symptoms: constant anxiety, need for control, difficulties relaxing, experience the worst, over planning everything. Now, I never needed the need for control of others, but I had to make sure I had control for me and my household and my girls, making it happen. I have never been without lights and water and all that. So, I always made sure our basic needs was met, but God also gave us our basic needs met and more. He really took care of my girls. He really did. Um, and they would never experience what I experienced, and God made sure of that. He made sure of that. Okay, so the last one is comparison or constant criticism. Root issue of it is being constantly compared to others. What is the symptoms? Trying to be perfect, fear of failure, never feeling accomplished, burnout, overworking to prove worth. I had these 10 was on me, on me. Now, not every symptom was I up here, no, because being perfect, I don't think was a thing, but it was a thing for me coming to God, because I wanted everything perfect. But when I'm working, like I had to tell my daughter yesterday, I don't care what job you do, you need to make sure you're doing the best. I always felt like I did my part. I overdid it, and which was fine for me. I loved it. I always wanted to make sure I'm doing the best at everything that I'm doing. So when God called me to even do this right here, this YouTube or different teachings and talking, I constantly tell him, like, God, you know, in my regular 9 to 5, how I was, right? I did it. I did it. I did the job, and I did it perfectly. I did. I want to do the same with what you're giving me to do. But because I feel so out of place doing it, it's just like, God, I need you to do something here. So with being perfect, there's never going to be a perfect nothing, right? No one is perfect. Even with me doing these videos, I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. Some of the words, I can't really pronounce the way I pronounce, and I don't know if that's because of my tongue or how I talk or how it come out, but it is what it is. I'm doing what God has called me to do. So there's never going to be perfect, but I enjoy doing things the correct way, the right way, and giving my all. If I'm working on a job, I'm giving my all. So even coming to do the things that God has asked me to do, I want to give my all, right? So I'm gonna give you a few common trauma response, and if you have paper and pen, write this stuff down. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more people doing these things that may not have a degree in it, but the difference between what others are doing and what I am doing right now is mine is totally direct, and some people's don't maybe too directly from God and through my journey of these last 10, 15 years um, of healing me, of healing me. Okay, so it's this thing called fight, flight, and freeze mode, and then they have fawn. So we're going to talk about fight. The person becomes aggressive or um, mm, confrontational. Example of that is quick temper, arguing, controlling situation. Flight. The person runs from problems. And the example of that is overworking, staying busy, avoiding emotional conversations. When you're in the flight mode, that is where a lot of people do their overworking and staying busy, but not being productive. You're busy, but not productive. Okay, freeze. The person shuts down emotionally. And the example of that, feeling numb, disconnect, unable to respond under pressure. Fawn, FAWN, fawn. The person becomes a people pleaser. And the example of that is agreeing with everything, avoiding conflict at all costs. Isolation. The person withdraw from people. Example, avoiding relationships, pushing people away, staying alone. Now, for me, I think I was more of a silent trauma type of person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't so much, I have issues and dealt with them, but you don't always know that a person is dealing with an issue. You have those that are silent and crying, right? And that was me, the silent one. The silent trauma many people carry. One of the hardest reality is that many people are suffering silently. Now, all trauma looks dramatic. Some trauma looks like the person who laughs but feels empty inside, the strong friend who never asks for help, the parent who never healed from their childhood, the successful person battling anxiety every day, the person who says, I'm fine, but cries when alone. Many people learn early in life, no one will help me, so I have to carry this alone. But trauma that stays buried grows deeper roots, and those roots eventually affect your relationship, mental health, self-worth, decision making, faith and identity, as well as your body. A lot of people don't know that that stress, that trauma stuff, that it can really mess up your health. Period. It really can. 3 ways people can begin to heal from trauma. I'm going to give you that. Healing does not happen overnight. I'm going to let you know that now. It's always a process. It's ongoing. It's a journey. But you can start it today whenever you hear this video. You can start it today. Okay, acknowledging the root. Quit trying to hide, because God cannot heal what you're trying to hide. So you have to acknowledge it. Healing starts when we are honest about the pain. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. Sometimes the breakthrough comes from someone finally saying, that hurt me. I am big on that hurt me. I grew into that. That hurt me. Talk to safe people. That's number 2. Healing rarely happens in isolation. You cannot heal in isolation. You can get support from counselors, pastors, trusted friends, support groups, mentors. Sharing pain reduces the power. And this is what I'm doing right now. Rebuilding identity. Trauma often distorts identity. People begin to believe lies such as, I'm not worthy, I'm unloved, I'm broken. Healing involves replacing those lies with truth. You're not your trauma. Your past may explain you, but it does not define your future at all. When people only see the leaves, they judge. When people only see the behavior that you're displaying, of course, they judge. But when they understand the root, they show compassion. Some people. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you may not see. Some are carrying forests of trauma inside of them. So the real question is not, why are they acting this way? No, you got to quit saying that. The real question is, what roots might be growing underneath their life? Because when the roots heal, the tree of life begins to change. Which means when you begin to heal, your life changes. Your life changes when you begin to heal. So until next time, make sure that you're taking, first of all, acknowledge what hurt you. It's okay. Acknowledge what hurt you and take it to God. And if you need a therapist, get you a therapist. But the main thing is you have to acknowledge what hurt you. God can't heal what you're trying to hide, which he can, but he wants you to acknowledge it and bring it to him. Until next time, make sure you hit the like on this video and subscribe to this channel. Have a good one.